it sounds like you're process oriented.
Correct.
And so
Right.
even though in the initial phases, the teams that played to win had an advantage, as your players went through the process of developing, by the time they
We were
got
able to
older,
compete.
you were better.
Yeah, we were able to compete. We were able to compete. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's the problem with youth coaching in America. I mean, I'm not saying with you, in all sports, right? Is that results is so important to the parents and the kids. And at a young age, you're better off learning the process to improve your skills at the expense of maybe you might not win the game.
I think there's multifaceted areas to that. I think over here, the end product is college. Back home, you're providing players to try and get into the first team,
Right.
or at least be an asset to the club that you can sell, right? So you're trying to develop a player to play. So the results don't matter at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. What matters is placing kids in the right environment to be able to be competitive in their environment. And in the youth environments, in the professional club scene, you don't have leagues. You go and play festivals, or you go like
Friendlies.
yeah, it's for the whole age group. You go and travel to Newcastle, you go to Manchester, you go wherever you go. What was very different here for me was an individual coach is probably their livelihood, parent driven. No parent wants to listen to their kid bawling because they lost 10-0.
Right.
They'll go and search for a better team, not necessarily better coaching.
Even though losing 10-0 when you're developing skills might be the appropriate thing. Okay.
Might be the level they're at right now.
Right.
And maybe the team's in the wrong level, right? But ultimately, I think over here, the parent wants to win, and that American, when I was living in England, that American kind of drive to be the best at everything is what we were jealous of. When I came over here, I think it's stifling. I think there's a need for it on some kids, but there's just not on others. So what I see here on the coaching side, when you're asking about the developing, I don't think everybody says they're developing, but if a coach has to keep a team year after year, because we're on year contracts, right? So every kid signs a year contract in competitive soccer. So if that coach has to have 3 teams to put food on the table for his wife or his kids and his family, what's driving him to develop a kid or to make sure they win games to stay in a league to be able to keep that team re-signed next year so he can still put food on the table? And that's the problem.
Yeah.
So we have leagues here when I first got here that are Classic Boys League, Lake Highlands, it's all promotion relegation. You're guaranteed if you can't be in Classic League, you ain't going to have that team, it'll break up. So you're constantly looking to get in the top 3 or 4, top 2 to go up, or stay in the top 6 or whatever to stay in Division 1 and not drop out because you'll keep your team. So what are you going to do?
The incentives are perverse, yeah.
So what are you doing as a coach?
Trying to win.
So bang your horses up top and play the ball to the players up the top.
Yeah.
And then I think you can generally say, look at the national team and see if
That's how they play.
if there's a very similar
Yeah.
way of playing. Now, I'm not bashing on the American team. I think there's a lot of talent in the United States, and it's a much bigger country. I mean, there's so many more kids here.
Right.
Now, the money in football and basketball probably take a lot of them away than the money in MLS. But ultimately, there's a lot here. But I think the way we go about it is probably wrong.